on March the 4th of 2005, we met at your house 2 days before we played Illinois.
Yeah.
And I think you know where I'm going with this, but I had the scout, and they were the number one team in the country. They were coming into our place 29-0. And we were kind of going back and forth on how we want to guard them. And I remember we were kind of a little bit torn, like a couple guys on the staff, like, man, you know, we even had a chance to win. And I'm thankful that you didn't fire me that day, because I remember kind of flipping out a little bit and say, hey, let's just call them and tell them, you know, we'll cancel the game. Because if we don't believe sitting right here that we can beat these guys, our guys are going to feel that.
Right.
And once they feel it, Illinois is going to smell it, and it's going to be an awful long day Sunday afternoon.
Right.
But thankfully, I got a weekend extension there, and we were able to pull that win off, which to this day, I think one of the greatest wins in school history, with Matt Sylvester hitting the shot and everything. But that was one of those days where you sat there, and as a leader, you allowed us to kind of all throw it on the table.
Right.
And we were trying to do something that no one else had done. But part of that is we had to kind of believe ourselves, and then have this collective mentality to walk in there with practice and get our guys believing. And thank God they did.
Oh, no. If you remember when I called that meeting in my house, I said, we just got to devise a game plan to keep this close, because Odom, Conley, Cook, Mullins, Kufus, Leidy were all going to be in attendance, and we didn't want to get blown out on Sunday afternoon on national television with those guys in attendance. And if you remember on that night, because the game was on Sunday afternoon, on Friday night, I was flying over to Indianapolis to watch Odom and Conley in their finals, or semifinals. I flew home. We practiced Saturday. I flew back Saturday night, flew back to Columbus, got in like at 1 o'clock in the morning on Sunday. And I called David Egelhoff and I said, look, I got this idea. Put together a film of the greatest upsets you can find.
Yeah.
We showed it right before the team came out that said, shock the world. And that was our motto as we went into that game.
No doubt.
Shock the world. And I think it gave our guys a belief that we could beat the number one team in the country 29-0 in the last game. And people don't realize this. We had nothing to play for because we had a postseason ban because of what had happened back there.
Exactly. That was our NCAA tournament / national championship in a sense. And I still remember we came out of the timeout and we had our little debate of, do we want to go for the win or go for the tie, because we were down 2. And you still said one of the greatest things that any coach has ever said in the heat of the moment was, fellas, let's go for the win. Do you really want to play these guys again another 5 minutes? So once you got to the huddle and told the guys we were going to go for the win, it literally, the huddle exploded. We actually had to calm them back down again.
Right.
But the rest is history from there. Sylvester knocks a shot in, and all those guys happened to see it sitting behind the bench, and all of them ended in our uniforms a couple, 3 years later. So,
in case you haven't noticed, we love podcasts. In fact, yeah, you should have one. We'll even build it for you. A podcast, that is. Simply email me at eric@sportse.io. We'll get your podcast published fast.